Yazid suspects something. He doesn't know quite what it is, but he suspects something. So as a precautionary step, he decides to replace the governor of Kufa, and he was initially Nu'man ibn Bashir, the great companion of the Prophet ﷺ, may Allah be pleased with him, and to replace him with Ubaydullah Ibn Ziyad. And he was known because Ubaydullah Ibn Ziyad was in the army of Ali in the Battle of Siffin. And his father Ziyad was appointed as governor of Basra by Ali ibn Abi Talib himself. But he was ruthless and he was cruel. On one particular day, this new governor of Kufa, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, this was now in the month of Dhul Hijjah, he goes into the streets of Kufa and he's wearing a turban. And he takes the end of that turban and he wraps it around his face, so no one could see who he was exactly. And when he came out with 17 men. It looked like a prestigious entourage. And the people of Kufa, when they first saw that, they thought that must be Hussain ibn Ali, who has now arrived from Medina. And so they went to greet him. "Welcome, O grandson of the Prophet." And he was about 55 years old by this time, Hussain ibn Ali. But then they realized they had just made a fatal error. What Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad did initially was he sent one of his servants, "Go to the streets of Kufa, and I want you just to sit and keep an eye on things. Watch who comes in, who goes out. Where is Muslim ibn Aqeel? Where is Hussain ibn Ali? It is your responsibility. Go and find where these people are." He discovers Muslim ibn Aqeel is in the quarter of Al-Asadi and in the quarter of Hani Ibn Urwa. And he goes back and he reports to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad that this is where Muslim ibn Aqeel is. On one particular day, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, so he sends a big contingent of people with weapons, and they go to that house of Hani ibn Urwa and they encircle it, and they want Muslim ibn Aqeel to be taken prisoner. When they go in, they discover that Muslim ibn Aqeel is not there, but the one who is there is Hani ibn Urwa himself, and they take him prisoner. When Muslim ibn Aqeel discovers that Hani ibn Urwa has been taken prisoner, he now puts his people to the test. "Here you are, O people of Kufa, with your claims of support and your claims of allegiance and your claims of power and support and everything else. And here is one of our loyal supporters who has been taken prisoner. He says, I need your help. We will march to the palace of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad and we will request for Hani ibn Urwa to be released. We will make that request." And 4,000 people joined him. And they said, "That's a good idea." And so he takes that force with him. Ibn Ziyad petitions the tribal leaders, the elders, "Go and tell the people. Tell the fathers to dissuade their sons. Tell the mothers to dissuade their sons." And so the fathers are now saying things like, "Listen, there are enough people with Muslim ibn Aqeel. You don't have to put your neck on the line." In the morning, he left with a big contingent of 4,000 people. But that number began to reduce. By the afternoon, it was around 400. By Maghrib time, it was 30. He led 10 people in Salah. By the time the prayer was finished, there was no one behind him. They became observers, my dear brothers. Muslim ibn Aqeel is by himself in the streets of Kufa, and all of his supporters have deserted him. What does he do? He walks around. He's trying to evade people like the authorities, if you want to call them that, who want him to be taken to Ibn Ziyad. He finds one home. He knocks on the door. An old woman answers the door, and he simply says, "I'm very thirsty. I need water. Is there any water for a guest, please?" And so she brings him in and she gives him some water, and she asks or inquires about him, and she realizes this is Muslim ibn Aqeel, and she's overjoyed that we have someone in our home from the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she was so eager for her son to return home so she could share the good news with her son. We have someone in our home from the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not knowing of course her son was treacherous. For when that son did come home and she shared that great news with him, the son had one thing in my mind: you wait till the morning, I will be first thing out of bed and I will run to the fort of Ubaydullah Ibn Ziyad and I will inform him where Muslim ibn Aqeel is, and I will take a payment for that. Muslim ibn Aqeel was there. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad sent a very, very big force of people, and they encircled that house of that woman, and he was brought out and he was arrested and he was taken to the fort of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. That Ibn Ziyad executed both Hani Ibn Urwa and Muslim ibn Aqeel and decapitated them.